Hello, can you hear? Oh, you can. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am absolutely gobsmacked at the amount of people that have come here tonight. I just want to say on behalf of myself and, well, I don't know if you can say behalf of myself, and the crew, everybody here, thank you so much for turning up. It really does mean an awful lot to us. And not only that, the amount of people that have watched Most Haunted, we can't believe how many people are doing it and how many people are watching it. Even celebrities are starting to watch it. It's become this huge thing we never ever thought would happen. The idea, I don't know if anybody knows anything about it, actually happened in Carl, my husband, and myself. It was our front room. And a friend came back from a place called Michelin Priory. He'd spent the weekend there. And he said, I've had a really, really good time at this place. He said, and it's haunted. He said, and the guy would like some publicity, so if ever you fancy doing a bit of filming there, you know, maybe you could go along, just for anything. So the guy left, and Kyle and I sat there over some tea and coffee and biscuits, and we thought, bloody hell, hey, what about a show to do with hauntings? And we started writing down on pen and paper, and we came up with this format. And the original programme was actually called Haunting Truths. And we decided then to get in contact with some friends who own their own camera equipment and everything, and off we went to Michelin Priory. And some of the original team are here that experienced what went on for that first show. And we couldn't believe what happened. Talk about terrified, we were absolutely petrified. We made the programme, we edited it, and then we had 6 months of hell trying to sell it. We went to every major television company that we could, BBC One, ITV, Channel 4, Channel 5, everywhere, and they all said, no, we cannot possibly show this type of programme on mainstream television. It will not allow us to do that. So, through some friends, we ended up meeting up with Living Television, and they instantly said, yes, this will do. They had no idea either how it would grow. And the first programme went out. Okay, viewing figures, a few people sort of tuned in and to see what was going on. And then when the second programme came out, we couldn't believe what was happening. All of a sudden, Living Television just shot through the roof, and everybody was watching the programme. So that's basically the story of how Most Haunted came about. We're basically we're mostly family. Antics Television Productions are family. There's Carl, the director, who's my husband. I don't know who I am. There's John Dibley, the lighting cameraman. There's Rick, who's my brother, who's the cameraman. Then there's Phil Wyman, gorgeous Phil. Yeah. Lovely. It's very nice, very small, if you know what I mean. Anyway. And Stuart, bless him, he's my cousin, right? And then, of course, we've got other members of the team that couldn't be here tonight. And, of course, Derek Akora as well, and his wife, Gwen. So there's quite a few of us, and we all make up the team, and we travel around the country. Everything you see on the television is real. There is nothing faked in it, and we do get criticised by people saying, oh, it can't be real, it can't be real, it's all a fake, Derek's a fake, yes, it's a fake, it doesn't happen. Everything you see on the programme is actually real. We cut a lot of things out of the programme, we edit a lot of things out of the programme that a lot of people don't see because we only have a certain amount of time to fill. We have 46 minutes to fill. So we've done that, and I think we've come up with a very good programme. And it will go on from strength to strength. We've just finished filming the next series, which starts in September, finishes in December, and there's a lot of very freaky stuff that went on. Very, very frightening moments. I was reduced to tears yet again. Sorry about that. And people say, oh, I've had some criticism as well concerning myself, which is she's always running away, she's always really scared. You know, she's supposed to be a paranormal investigator, she should be in there. Well, I've tried that, and I'm sorry, it stinks, I can't do it. I absolutely, sorry to swear, shit my pants. And so, everything you see, as I say, is totally real. Now, are there any questions that you'd like to ask? Everybody here is an expert in their own field. Stuart is a dirty mouth rigger, and he basically puts all the lights up, he does all the cabling for us. Phil is our paranormal investigator who basically goes in before we actually turn up and does what's called a baseline test, which is where he checks out the building for creaky floorboards or anything strange, so that if anything paranormal does happen, he can sort of check it and say, no, actually that wasn't, it's a creaky floorboard. So that's what Phil does, creaky floorboards. And Rick is a lovely cameraman. He's single, by the way. As is Phil. And then there's John Dibley, John Dibby Dobbies. John is he's our camera supervisor, lighting cameraman. Every shot that you see, John has sorted it out, and he concentrates very hard now and again. And then there's Carl at the end, my husband. God love it. Isn't he gorgeous? Yeah, and John, are you still single, or are you kind of like, oh, he's kind of like. Yeah, right, okay. So everybody here has their kind of expertise. So if there's any questions that anybody in the audience would like to ask us, please fire ahead. I know Fred and Addy's out there with the microphone. So please just stick your hand up, because otherwise we might have to sort of drop our trousers and start doing a dance routine, and that wouldn't be very nice. I know you don't have a problem doing that, you dirty bugger. Right, okay, so... Oh yeah, we've got some caps as well, most haunted caps, and we've decided, well, it was Rick's idea, that the best question will get a cap. I know you're excited, don't hold yourself back there. Very expensive. You know what I mean? Sorry, Frederick.
Hi, what's your name?
It's Lisa. It's basically to you as a couple, after you've been to a really spooky house.
I don't want to talk about sex, you can ask me this. God, we actually did nearly try to have sex in a what was it? That big aircraft. Anyway, we won't go into that. Sorry, carry on.
No, it's completely different. When you get home, you've been really freaked out, and you get back to your family and you've got your kids. How do you feel that following night when you've been totally spooked out and you've got your children around you and you've got to go to bed and it's dark and you've got to go up the stairs?
After sleeping with Yvette, nothing. I mean, what you get to see is her made up. I actually get to see her first thing in the morning. Series 1 was really strange because a great deal of weird things started happening in our house, and we had all the doors in the kitchen were just opening and shutting on their own. Apparently we've got a couple of kids that are running around. I mean, we've got a couple of kids that are running around, but 2 that aren't invited. Derek picked up on this, and true enough, our little one, Mary, that's our little one, isn't it? Yeah. She's... How old is she? Is she 4, is she? Oh, sorry, she's 3. And she kept talking between sort of 1 o'clock in the morning. She just kept talking and talking, and it was the next morning with William, who's now 9. It's paranormal. I've made a show out of less. It's about now that Yvette starts crying and running out. And then we say, well, what do you think? No, and they both said, who is the lady that keeps coming into our room? And that was, it had happened before, but it started to happen halfway through series 1. But us together, I mean, we're fine with it. I'm still sort of kind of on the fence, really. But Yvette is 100% with it, and I still want to see the first manifestation of a ghost. I still want to see it. you know, in my face, and I want it to introduce itself to me. Until it does that, okay, it does frighten me. It frightens the hell out of me. We want to see it. But sorry if that answers your question. I can't remember what it was now.
Hi, what's your name? Matt from Ipswich. Do you ever get disheartened by what, after you've presented your evidence to people like the parapsychologists and those who turn around and say, well, no, it's a supersonic flying moth with a knife that's cut your neck? Do you ever feel that it's sort of, what's the point of going on if every time you find something, someone's going to turn around and say, well, no, it's another completely random, stupid explanation?
No, I mean, everyone has their own opinion. At the end of the day, we know what happens, and we know what hasn't happened. If you get scratched and there's nothing there, I mean, I've been hit by flies before, and I've never had one do any damage. But if it does dishearten us, because it really makes us want to go out and prove that there is more, there is something out there. I mean, we don't know what it is. I mean, we know there are ghosts. There's too many people that have seen something, and at Drury Lane, over 80 people on the stage saw the same figure. So there has to be something. Now, what we're trying to find out is what that is. Is it the spirit of a dead person, or is it magnetic energy that we don't understand yet? But it doesn't dishearten me. I find some of the opinions of some of these people quite comical. I mean, as it happened. I mean, Mark, the guy who does mosthaunted.net, yeah. I mean, and what a fantastic website. But the is that Dalek over there? Sorry, I thought I was having another paranormal episode. Yeah, Phil, what do you think about it? Pick the mic up.
It's always handy to go into these things with sort of an open mind, but I have to admit, some of the explanations that they sort of come out with, the parapsychologists and whatever, they just make you laugh, they really do. I don't know if it's because it's their nature to try and find an explanation or an answer to every single thing that we sort of put in front of them. But they always seem to do that, and they just, sometimes they make you chuckle, sometimes they make you think, yeah, that could be a reason for it. But I don't think we really get that disheartened. It's like Cole said, we just like grit our teeth and are more determined to get evidence and you know, stump the psychologist or parapsychologist, and that's our aim, to get some evidence on camera, and the parapsychologists go, yeah, well, that could be paranormal activity actually, because I can't give you any other explanation for what that could be. But we'll get there, and that day, you'll see it. You'll see the day when we get the parapsychologist and go, I've got no idea what that is. So you'll be the first to see it. What else?
Okay, the Ruth must be here again. Anybody else got any questions?
Yeah, Bruce has got one.
Hi. What I was actually wondering is, talking with the paranormal, have any of you found that your own sort of intuitive abilities have grown? Because, I mean, do you have more meaningful coincidences? Do you pick up on sort of vibes from people around you in your day-to-day lives? Have any of you found that's happened?
When we first started filming, it's paranormal. It's all kicking off. I'm going to scream in a minute. No, when we first started filming, God, I look such a prat with this phone. No, when we first started filming, as I say, I'd always been interested in mediumship and how it worked. So I started to do meditation and a lot of research into everything. And strange things started to happen at home. And I've been told by mediums, you are sensitive to it, but I'm so scared, because that's where I am, I completely blocked myself off from it. I don't understand it. It scares me to death, and I think that mediums all over the world who are genuine mediums are incredibly brave, talented people with a special gift. I couldn't do it because it scared the pants off of me. But John, where is John? Yeah, John had John came into the programme and you were quite sort of sceptical about a lot of things. And we just finished shooting a celebrity special with Vic Reeves. And John, we were doing a séance. And first of all, Derek was involved in the séance. And that wasn't particularly very nice. In fact, I think Derek actually grabbed hold of Stuart by the throat. It was quite horrible. And then we did a second séance because Derek needed a rest. And you continue and tell everybody what happened to you.
Well, yeah, like Yvette says, I am very cynical. I've done the last 2 series, and things do happen. You hear noises, you hear all sorts of things, and you see things, and you can put them down to all sorts of. I mean, I come up with excuses, but this particular time, this was last week. I ended up. I had a very funny sort of experience, basically doing a seance. Something overtook me, and I ended up completely sort of transformed. Ran upstairs in this place, and I ended up, I don't know, I ended up fainting, I think, from what I remember. But it was an amazing experience. I am very cynical, and it sort of proved me wrong. And I try and come up with all sorts of explanations, whether they're psychosomatic or, and I try and come up with a scientific or a rational explanation. But from my own personal point of view, it was nice to be involved. So that sort of proved it to me that it was more than just scientific.
Hi, what's your name?
Louise. Yeah, I just wondered, I mean, I've seen obviously Derek's programmes before, and I've seen all kind of spirits come to him during his shows, and I just wondered if, when Derek's on his own, does he have like spirits come to him just like willy-nilly as they do in his shows, and do they just they come to him sort of in all walks of life, as I can imagine? Do they come to him ever sort of like, you know, give themselves to him in a sexual nature? I just wondered that.
Let's do the what's up.
Oh, how much have you had to drink? Dirty mare. All I know is that I've known Derek now for a couple of years, and some people go, he's mad, he's barking mad, because all of a sudden he'll start talking to himself, and you think he's talking to himself, but he's not. He's actually talking to his spirit guide, and he's getting information there and then. Apparently, according to his wife, he'll be in the toilet talking to himself, in the shower, at home, and he's picking stuff up an awful lot of the time. I remember a story he told me was actually in bed, and you know, he said to Gwen, "Oh my God, someone's come into our bedroom," and he starts having a chat with this bloke in his bedroom. I mean, I don't know how Gwen puts up with it, quite frankly, you know. So yes, he does, and I don't know about the sexual nature thing. It's something I've not actually asked.
Just tell us about when they're busy.
What? Yeah. So I hope that answers your question. Does it? Oh what? Oh God.
I keep sort of doing that. It's my director's thing on stage. On set, I just have to point and go, and everyone runs. No, one of the strange things is when you're, and a couple of times we've done it, when we've been in a hotel and Derek is next door to us, it's the funniest thing in the world, because, like, poor Gwen, she'll go to sleep, but you hear Derek talking for hours and hours and hours. And the times you just hear him say, "Will you leave me alone?" And I'm thinking, what's Gwen doing? Yeah, and the trouble is, at breakfast you have to look at Gwen, who's very sweet, and you think, what were you doing to that poor man last night? But no, they're all over him all the time.
Well, that's a question for you.
Yes. I don't know whether you realised it, but up there you missed, and so did Derek, a spirit that apparently my colleague Agnes Freeman up there has located as having had a stab wound in his chest. He's a naval man. I don't know much of the other details. You can probably get it from her, but it proves that there are even more spirits here than you managed to winkle out so far.
Yeah, you're probably right there. I know just before we walked onto the stage that Derek had just said he picked up on a figure up there. Whether or not it was that, I don't know. Just right up there, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the one.
So there probably is more spirits, but we'll have to wait and see. Further investigations due.
Questions? Any more questions anyway?
Yeah, I've got one over here.
Okay.
Which has been the most horrifying experience that you've done, and how do you pick your locations?
Is this one? Yeah, I'll have this one instead.
The most terrifying location I've ever been to, there's actually two.
The first one, which was on the first series, was at Charleville Forest Castle in Ireland. That was a derelict castle, and the legend has it there was a girl who used to play on the banisters upstairs in the castle, and she was sliding down the banisters and she actually fell to her death. People previous who go there to visit the castle, and relatives who actually stay in the castle as well, they've actually heard the sounds of the young girl playing and laughing. So it was at night time when we was going on the walk around, just before the walk around. Yvette was doing a piece of camera. So Yvette finished that. I told everyone to go downstairs. I switched all the lights off because I was on the D-rig. And as soon as the lights went out, that was when I heard the sound of the girl actually whispering muffled in my ear. So that was when I'd run off. So that could have been anything, but I'd put it down to that. And then the second time, in the same location, was the day after. I was actually setting something up for an interview upstairs, and I was rigging the lights up to the rafters, and I heard something in the bedroom next door to me. I could hear laughing and giggling, so I thought it was members of the crew larking around, but I got down the ladders, went in the room, and there was nothing there whatsoever. So I was talking to the owners of the castle just before I'd left, and they actually said people had been up there and heard the sounds of the young girl playing and laughing. So that was my first encounter.
We got a question over here from Elsa for Yvette.
Yvette, you done one from a prison where it really, really upset you and you were in tears. How do you get over something like that?
I'll never forget that as long as I live, because I cannot explain what happened to me, and I felt such an idiot afterwards, because I just thought everyone's going to think, what an absolute silly cow. She cannot control her emotions, silly cow, slap her. And normally when we do the filming, my husband, love him, decides some of the crew, you know, as we say, they stay on for the whole 24 hours. About 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, I always go back to the hotel and have some sleep so I'm ready to come back in the morning and finish. And that particular night, I just couldn't, or early hours of the morning, I could not sleep, because all the time I was trying to fathom out why I had just burst into tears for no reason. It was in Derby Jail, and it was the condemned man's cell. We'd all gone inside it, and previous to this I'd been on the Red Bull, and we'd been singing Beatles songs and trying to keep awake and everything, and went into the condemned man's cell. We started filming, Derek was there, and I remember Derek saying, "No, you're not coming into me," or whatever it was, anyway, "go away." And then literally a couple of seconds later I wanted to throw up. The feeling was so, I wanted to be sick. And I said, I can't carry on, and I went out, and I do not know or can explain, but I sobbed and cried like I have, you know, when you really hurt and something's happened in your life and you're just uncontrollable. Well, that's what it's like. And I just can't, even to this day, I cannot explain it, but I couldn't sleep, and it's still something I ask Derek, I ask a lot of mediums that I come into contact with, why was that? And they will explain it's because a certain spirit, or you're picking up on feelings, was trying to communicate through the medium. He pushed it away and the feelings came to you. And that's how, what happened, and the fact, no, I couldn't sleep afterwards, and it still bothers me to this day. I wonder why, you know, what really happened.
Lorraine has another question.
Oh yeah, Rick had to stay with me for a week after. That's right, yeah, with all the lights on in the house. Yeah.
I just spotted another famous face here from Living TV.
Oh.
Does anybody remember Mystic Challenge? Kevin Wade?
Yay!
Hello, Fred. How are you doing? All right. Any questions?
Questions at all?
Yeah,
he always frightens me to death when he comes here. Anybody else got any questions?
Lorraine's got one.
Okay.
How do you pick your locations?
Oh yes, that was one. Well, we have Phil, and we have Rick, and we have another couple of people that aren't here tonight who actually research our locations. We have collected books we use the internet, we go off advice of mediums, of people that we know of who have ghost researchers, ghost ASAP, all kinds of different kind of associations, ghost hunters, and we ring them up and we say, you know, where do you think would be good? Or we just see something on the internet and we just think, you know, for instance, we just did Belgrave Hall, and we found out that there was some CCTV footage of what was believed to be a spirit. They caught it on tape, and apparently it had become famous because of this CCTV footage. So we thought, well, we'll better go and investigate it. And a lot of things did happen there, but it's just a huge file that we have of every single haunted location. There are a lot of haunted locations that only supposedly have one ghost in there or one haunting. We try to go for somewhere with interest, somewhere that's good to look at, somewhere that's, for instance, Derby Jail, Galleries of Justice we've just done as well. So every place has to have a story or a mystery to it, or something that maybe Derek can shed some light on, and more than hopefully one haunting, maybe 3 or 4, and then we'll go from there on. And that's how we come up with the locations, really.
What's your question, Colin?
Question is, after the shows, is there any sort of follow-up by other agencies regarding sites of mass burials or executions, etc.? I'm thinking in terms of Clerkenwell Prison down the road there.
Yeah, we actually, our research is constant. It's something that isn't really shown on the television. We tried to get Living to allow us to show it, but they just won't. They haven't got the airtime. That's the official word anyway. But we basically, it's paranormal. Oh. There are things that Derek says. God, this happened to Elvis once. He had more. Anyway, there are things that have happened that Derek picks up on that we cannot verify on the day. So we will spend a great deal of time constantly researching that to see if it is true or not. And to date, a lot of the stuff is true that we found. One instance was Suter Lighthouse. There was 2 ships were. Is there another mic? No? Okay, I'll try this one. Yeah, there were 2 ships that sunk. One sunk, and there was a lot of confusion about actually how they sunk. They collided. They couldn't have collided because one had sunk about 60 or 70 years prior to the other one. And it was only after 4 months of research that we realised that one had actually sank and landed right on top of the other one. And no one actually knew that. So they had collided, but they had collided 60 or 70 years later. But we can't put it on air. We want to. We desperately want to. I mean, there are moves afoot to try and eradicate that, but rest assured, research does continue. It continues by all of us, the research team and myself as well, just to make sure that we are on the right track.
I have a question for Dale and his Starlake.
Hi, apart from ghosts and paranormal stuff, Thank you. Shut up, Dustin. What scares you most in life apart from ghosts? That's for all of you.
In the morning. I honestly don't have a clue. Work. Yeah, that's probably a big thing now. Nothing, to be quite honest. I mean, after doing Most Haunted, it's quite hard really to get scared about many things. Yeah, apart from commitment in relationships, yeah, I don't like commitment. But no, nothing really scares me that much. I mean, I'm 24 years of age and I was that scared after Series 1, I actually left my house and moved back in with my mum. I've moved out now. But no, I was that petrified I didn't move back in with my mum. God bless her.
Oh, we've got a question from Claire.
Cheers. Bit of a cheeky question, but I just wanted to know, through watching both series so far, I just wonder if it was just coincidence that a lot of the places you visit have a lot of alcohol in the building.
Name them.
The Ostrich Inn, here, Brannigan's.
3. No, actually, Brannigan's didn't because we weren't downstairs. We were upstairs in the shop.
But hang on, we saw the
two.
pictures at the end, didn't we?
Yeah.
People like going like that and stuff.
Yeah, that was when we were happy to get out. The investigation was upstairs. There was no alcohol in there. But anyway, okay, that's 3.
I don't mind. I was just curious. That's
no, out of 40 shows, that's 3. So we're not even at 10% yet.
I'll have to make a list now.
Yeah, I do.
You got drunk at my house, Carl.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was always get drunk with you, though, Fred. Seriously, so, I mean, obviously, if a pub or a hotel or a restaurant they have alcohol there, we can't help that. We don't choose a place because it has or hasn't got alcohol. Yeah, we're up all night. Health and safety insurance. We're not allowed to drink alcohol. Oh, you bet. And honest, it never happens.
Maria would like to ask a question.
Hi. Can you tell me if Derek only receives messages from people that have passed on, or can he receive messages from people that are absent and far away?
Well, if Derek's listening, I hope I get this right. No, Derek can receive messages from people who are far away, because I can't explain it brilliantly, but mostly his messages will come from people who have departed, or they will give a message. Say, for instance, if you had a brother in Australia who is living and your grandfather had departed, then Derek could say, I have your grandfather, he's saying to you, get in touch with your brother in Australia because he's a bit distressed, or something like that. That's all I can tell you. I don't really know that, but that's what I've heard him do before in other readings. I hope that's okay. Oh, go on.
Caroline wants to word.
Hi, just a quick query. When you go to the properties and you do ghost hunt, would you ever go back there?
Never to me personally, never to Derby Jail. And what about you guys? Which one?
I would absolutely love to go back to some of the locations we filmed, because I think there's so much more that we can find out there. It's like we have a little joke amongst us. We call ourselves like the hardcore crew, which is myself, Carl and Stuart. And we're always the first down the hole, and we'll be up. We are always first down the hole. You're always playing with your lights. But no, I mean, I'd absolutely love to go back to some of these places, and I actually do plan to. I'm actually planning to go back to Charleville Forest Castle this summer, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, personally, I'd like to go back. The place we filmed in last week in Leicester. That was such an amazing experience. I wanted to do another séance. We did do another séance, and nothing happened, but I enjoyed it that much. It's a bit of a masochist, but yeah, I'd love to go back there.
I actually think Mitchell and Priory, which is the first one we did, because we really didn't know what we were doing. I mean, we only had one camera. Now we've got 9. So, I mean, Mitchell and Priory, and a lot happened at Mitchell, which we couldn't film because we just didn't have the cameras. As soon as we walked in there was doors opening and shutting, and people were seeing things left, right and centre. And I really think that if we could get back to Mitchell and Priory, we would actually catch something on tape. Actually, let me pass this over to Phil, because he needs to have a word.
I think I'd really like to go back to the Gallows of Justice in Notts. That is one spooky place. When the lights go out, that is one spooky place, and some weird, freaky stuff happened there. But you've not seen that yet, so I'm not going to say anything else about that. But the guys in the first year did Chillingham Castle, didn't you? I've always wanted to do Chillingham Castle, so I'd go back there with this lot any day if the option came up.
What's your question, huh?
Firstly, Yvette, thanks for a fantastic programme, all of you. I really enjoy it. What I really want to know is, I know that a large percentage of the places that you go to are old buildings and don't have a particular power source. But in a lot of the places you go to, your cameras run on battery and they're always draining. Why don't you just plug them in to a socket?
In all honesty, I really don't know why all the batteries do drain in a lot of these locations that we do go in. But we always have, the other thing I can say is that we always have batteries basically on charge for standby.
Sorry, has a question for you.
Hi. Have you ever thought about teaming up with Time Team?
Oh, sorry?
Yes, we have. Where are you? Over there. Oh, yes, we have. I think it was Carl actually made the suggestion about it, because we thought we could have a race to see who could find evidence or of a Roman village or fort or whatever, using a medium, using the most haunted crew. If there are any tunnels to go down, we would go down them first. And it would almost be who's going to come up with dates, who's going to come up with, find relevant information first. So yeah, I mean, Carl, you did think of that, and it's something that we are pursuing.
And we would win.
Yes, we would win.
What's your question, Fiona?
I don't know if you know the answer to this, but how did Derek meet Sam?
Oh God. Right, Derek met Sam. I think he was a little boy at the time, and I think it was, if I remember, yes, I think he was in. Derek, you're going to kill me. I can't remember. He's up there. Oh, do you know? Kind of. Oh, Carl probably remembers. Yeah.
I don't remember. I wasn't there, but from what I can remember, what Derek said. That Sam and Derek were friends many years ago, and something happened where Derek was actually killed and Sam got away. So when Derek has died and been reborn, Sam has taken this role of his protector and his spirit guide through, though Sam is now dead and Derek is alive, obviously. Unless, of course, Derek is a spirit, which we don't know. No, and Sam is his guide now because they were together in a past life.
Lynn has a question for you.
On occasions on your series, Derek has said that there's some lost souls that need help. Does that actually happen after? And if so, how many?
Carl, I've got Derek up here. He'll be the best one to answer that.
Thank you. Yes, evening everyone. It's great to be with you, with the team. Can I just answer rather briefly, quickly? The lovely ladies just asked that question. Yes, of course it does go on. That's part and parcel of the role and the work that mediumship is here for. Generally goes unannounced, without much fuss, or maybe even away from cameras. But yes, a lot of the locations where and I have made our way back very quietly and assuredly, and have tried to release and send those lovely souls who don't deserve to be here in this atmosphere for one reason or another, and they have been sent over very beautifully. So the answer to that is yes, most definitely. It's most important to me as a medium. Okay?
Question from Martin.
Yeah, hi. What's the most compelling piece of evidence you've found so far on camera?
Sorry, Carl. Forgive me.
Sorry, go on, sit down. Your turn's later. Go on, Daniel.
We're going to be back shortly.
Yeah. Not if I get up there, he won't be. I still think one of the best pieces of evidence we got was Culzean Castle, where Yvette was in a room, and there was a painting of a lot of orbs running around. And there was one point Yvette said, and Derek picked up a lady called Suzanne in this room and said, Suzanne, if you're there, please try to show yourself. And this wisp of something or other just appeared in the middle of a frame. We've had it analysed. It's not any kind of light refraction. It's not dust. It's nothing that anyone can say exactly what it is. They can only say exactly what it isn't. But for me, that's probably one of the most important pieces.
What you've done now. The other thing that Carl and I had a big argument about, I don't know if you, because we tend to do that about work, and it was, I don't know if you saw the Station House Hotel with the bed moving in the chair. I didn't want to put it in, and Carl wants to put it in. I said, you can't put it in. Yes, we can, it's evidence. I said, it can't be put in because people will criticise it, because it can be criticised, because somebody could say that there was somebody lying beside the bed and pushing the chair in the bed. Because we only have, we have 6 night vision cameras, there were God knows how many haunted bedrooms at the Station House Hotel. There were lots, weren't there? So 4 main bedrooms. So we left 1 camera plus another locked off camera on trigger objects throughout the building, and we should have, but we didn't know because we didn't have enough cameras, place cameras strategically around the room. So 1 on the floor, 1 on a big wide shot to show that nobody else was in the room, 1 on the side, everywhere. And that to me was very frustrating, because I want you to look at it, and as does Carl and the rest of the crew, and say, my God, that's brilliant, it's not cheated. So the argument was, if we put it in, people will criticise it. And Carl quite rightly said, no, we must put it in because it's what we've caught. We can be criticised for it, but we are truthful and we are putting stuff in that we are catching. So evidence, yes, for us personally, the bed in the chair is the most amazing evidence, but it can be criticised, and that's to us is why we choose the footage at Culzean Castle.
Paul has a question for you. You go to many places during your research. Have you ever actually been to a purportedly haunted location and found absolutely nothing?
Oh, now wait a minute, have we? Oh yeah.
Basically, Drury Lane Theatre, when we turn up, obviously a few hours, God's spilling me water everywhere, turn up and obviously set everything up, the cameras and all the lights and everything like that. And when Derek arrived, he walked in and the camera started rolling. He said, I'm picking up absolutely nothing. And the whole crew just went, oh my God, we've got 24 hours of bugger all. But we had a bit of a wander around, then all of a sudden he got possessed, basically, and I screamed again like a girl, which you don't see. I have this habit of screaming on the next series, so do bear with me. I've taken over her role, actually.
Yeah, it was that was a particularly scary show, because we didn't catch it on camera, but this is the only thing that remains in my mind that there is proof, definitely, there is something there. I saw a pair of legs. We saw a pair of legs moving on their own up up the stairs, and they were from the feet to the knee, in what we could describe as like leather, old-fashioned boots, almost like your Dick Turpin type boots, and they were walking on their own up the stairs, and it was the most bizarre thing I think we've ever seen. Well, of course we ran like a couple of inches, just ran. Screamed again, and you know, you're supposed to go and investigate it, but we were just too scared because we couldn't understand what we had seen. But that was in the early days, so hopefully we'll be a bit braver.
Sorry, I've just got to tell you a funny story here, because it was in the edit and it is sort of going to embarrass you a little bit, Phil. What embarrasses me more? We were on a location a couple of months ago, and we were down an alleyway, and there's only one way in and one way out. And we heard all this banging and stuff, and me and Phil were quite freaked out. He's got his meter out. And Phil decided to pass wind. I screamed and fell over. So I just thought I'd just let you know that. So when you see me and Phil in an alleyway, and you see me laughing because you can't help but cut it out, that's because Phil's just farted. So, sorry Phil, just thought I'd throw that one in.
Actually, there is one thing that you never ever see. We really would love you to see, but unfortunately we probably wouldn't be allowed or would be sued by living. But just about every single show, we set somebody up, and it's always Phil. And we have had Phil doing the most amazing, stupid things that any human being could do, and we tell him that it's part of our paranormal tests. Now, we've had him at one point Pegasus Castle, which is one of my personal favourites. We were in a room and we were doing a reconstruction of this ghostly figure that had been seen in the corner, and we said to him we wanted it to have a blacked out face, so can you turn and face the wall and we'll just shoot the back of you. So the camera set up, and we just said, right, now just move backwards and forwards like this, and just don't make a sound, and just do it, and we'll tell you when to stop. So he turns around, faces the wall, and we left. And we went down this spiral staircase, and all you could hear at the bottom was this faint little voice at the top saying, "Are you still there?" We've had him walking into walls saying that we're actually going to make it into a computer-generated thing, but you've got to walk straight into it. It's fantastic. We had him doing this across a wall where Derek had picked up where this hole was, and we said, right, if you just do that, and what we're going to do is, because obviously we've got 10 million quid to spend on graphics, and we're going to make it look like it used to be in 300 years ago. And poor Phil, bless him, He's there, and he's done it 6 or 7 times because we said, no, it's too fast, it's not fast enough. And there's one particular point, the wall is there, and we said, right, now Phil, you've got to walk, but you've actually got to let your nose touch the wall, because you've got to look like you're walking in. He does all this, and then he walks straight in, and he's standing there, and we are killing ourselves laughing. We're on camera, said, no, Phil, just stand there a second, it'll be fine. Just stand there. Now turn around, and he's turning around. The poor bloke, bless him, give him a round of applause for that. He is good looking, isn't he? I mean, not up my inclined, but if I was, he would be first. Of course, say something, Phil.
I love you. Like a brother I never had. Yeah, I don't know why it's always me that seems to get the pratfalls played on me and stuff. But I'm sort of that genuine, and they really do put a serious face on. And every single time, it must have happened about 7 or 8 times, I swear. And every time, the last 3 or 4, I've gone, this is a wind-up. Like, no, this is serious. This is deadly serious. I'm like, okay, fair enough, I'll do it. And then I do it, and then they turn around and start laughing their heads off. So, no.
Did they tell you about the wind-up when they sent you to the pub? I know when you sent him off to the pub to sign autographs.
Sorry, I had to... we got that many practical jokes going on. Basically, me and Stuart went out on a bit of a heavy drinking session, didn't we, a night or so before. And we bumped into quite a few avid Most Haunted fans. Anyway, we ended up at the other end of the town and it was completely dead. So Phil rolls up and a couple of people asked him for his autograph. So we sent him 20 minutes down the road at 10 o'clock just before closing on a Sunday to go get autographs. We didn't see him for about 2 hours. And he came back not having a clue what had gone on, and he was definitely a few hours short of sleep, weren't you, Phil? Did you sign an autograph? You actually took a pen with you though, didn't you? It was dead. It was a farm town. Well done, Phil. But I think me and you being scared in the car at Pengusick Castle was probably the most funniest. But I'll let you talk about it.
We had spent all day at Pengusick and not a great deal happened, and Rick and I had been in this room trying to entice this nasty ghost, and we were calling him every name under the sun. We were really trying to get him to, come on if you think you're hard enough type thing. Now everyone else had gone, and it was about 4:30 in the morning. It's still dark, so Rick and I decided to go back to there because it was just me and him there on our own. And we decided to go back just to have one last go at seeing if we could get anything. And as we walked towards it, something was following us on this gravel path. So we stopped and we looked around, there was nothing there. And we thought, great, there's everyone else has gone, there's just us 2 here. So we went closer and closer, and as we got to the place, this thing was running faster and faster and faster towards us, but there was nothing there. And then the door slammed. He screams like a little girl. I mean, it was again. So we decided that we were going to sleep in the car. And we are in the car, and he's in the bag. Because he used to smoke then, he's quit now. And he wouldn't even have the window open that much, in case a ghost could come through it. But Rick, they walk through walls.
We got a question now from Andy.
Do you use any special equipment when filming?
When you say special equipment, what camera-wise, or what kind of equipment do you mean? Special effects. Well, we use basic DV cameras for the night vision. They're quite straightforward, and the other cameras we use are quite straightforward. We don't use any special effects or anything's done in the edit, but I think Carl would have better knowledge there. The reconstructions, there's a grading that's put on to make it look give it that sort of aged effect. But we don't use any special equipment. No, there's nothing special. It's just basic cameras set up, and that's it really. There's nothing too exciting.
I have a question from Lynn.
The paranormal is a very serious subject. Do you feel it's irresponsible in any way to turn it into an entertainment vehicle or indeed to make money from it?
No.
We've got a question here from Richard.
This is a question to Yvette. When you was at the Red Lion pub in Avebury, what was it that actually made you leave the room so quick at night?
I can't remember. Oh, yes, I can. Yes, it was it was one of the first times I'd actually been asked, well, told by my husband, we'll go into that room on your own. Isn't he cruel? And I went into the room, and I remember there was a storm happening outside, and it was really windy, and the landlord at the time had actually said, I dare anybody to spend some time alone in that room. Now, previous to this, people had had the most awful experiences in there. Somebody had actually dragged one of the mattresses out of the bedroom and slept, pulled it down into the bar and slept there. So I knew that it wasn't a particularly nice place, and Derek had been around there and picked up on various spirits. So I remember sitting in the room, and something was touching the top of my head. It definitely felt like something was touching my head. Now, most scientists would actually say that was me being hysterical and getting carried away with my emotions. But you know when you've seen something, when you've felt something, and you know for sure that is exactly what you felt and you've seen, and no one can tell you any different. I know I felt something touch the top of my head. And Carl had said to me, if you go in that room, I'll be sitting outside the door. I won't leave you. I'm outside the door, it's fine. I'd been in there 10 minutes, I think it was, and I was so terrified that I had to get up enough sort of guts to actually step across from the bed to open the door. I was that petrified. And I opened the door, and he wasn't there. He buggered off for a fag and a cup of coffee. Left me there, which wasn't very nice, but it was the initial just touching on the top of the head. And later on, when we went back into that room, Carl got 2 scratches on the back of his neck, which nobody can explain. And it wasn't a midget flying around kamikaze style either. But that was a very strange experience. It was very, very frightening as well.
I have a question from Rachel.
For Derek, what does it actually feel like when you've actually been possessed? Did you actually feel the spirit coming into you?
Oh, is that a question for Derek? Yeah, because I don't know what it feels like. Oh yeah, Rick can answer that because it's actually happened to Rick.
Basically something that you didn't see when we filmed Chillingham Castle, because we couldn't put it in there obviously for legal reasons. When we were filming Yvette's walk around, we were on it was a balcony, wasn't it? And supposedly it's haunted by this lady who's in search of a man who's got goatee beard, dark hair and stuff. And she basically haunts this balcony looking for her because apparently he ran off with her sister. So I'm up on the balcony filming with Yvette, and all of a sudden I got pins and needles going all up my body, all on my head. And then apparently my eyes turned blood red, as Yvette said, and I said in a very funny voice, help me, and actually passed out. Just at that time, Derek actually arrived, and basically this woman had seen me on the balcony and rushed into me, thinking that I was her husband. So I was out for about a good 10 minutes. But I got the next 4 hours off with a hot water bottle and a good glass of brandy, so it was alright. But no, it was the most extreme experience I've ever had, and it's something that I particularly wouldn't want again. But as Derek says, I'm a very open person. Quite a few members of the crew are very open, so more than likely it will happen again.
Right, question from Steve.
Hi. Just wondered whether or not you were allowed to say when the next Most Haunted Live is going to be.
No, we actually we're not allowed to say just yet. It hasn't been decided as such. Where are you? Oh, there you are. Sorry, mate. It hasn't been decided as yet. We've narrowed it down to 3 places, but until we've actually got a definite yes on it, we can't. I mean, as soon as they know, they will post it on the website. It'll be somewhere.
Right, Daniela's come on for you.
Hi, I was just wondering if it's true that a lot of paranormal activity happens around teenage girls.
No, I better not answer that. I'll put that over.
If they're like
paranormal activity.
Apparently, yes, young children and teenage girls, because, well, with young children, I'm not the most qualified person. Maybe, Kevin, would you like to answer that? Would you like to answer that? Kevin, give Kevin Wade, please, a round of applause. Can you come up?
Children are very perceptive because they're very innocent and they haven't been bombarded by the society and rules and regulations. So children are very perceptive to picking up different things. You'll often hear a child say that they've got a play friend, and I would encourage parents when their children say that, don't discourage them, because they are and they do see spirit children with them that they do play with. So children are very perceptive, teenagers as well. And it is lovely because the younger generation are very much coming into this way of life, and we do need to encourage it with true mediumship. And I mean true mediumship. As a spiritual medium clairvoyant myself, I do help a lot of people, children, and many instances. But at the end of the day, spirit work through me. I am just an instrument, and it's as simple as that. But children, it's lovely to see the innocence on their faces, and there's more spirit coming into children because, can I say to you, they're here to help mankind to get back on the right pathway of love, compassion, and understanding, and not to be too materialistic and too greedy in this life today. So I hope that answers your question. Thank you.
I have one from Ronald. Could you explain why you've never been to Tower of London and Hampton Court Palace?
Because they are very difficult to deal with. When we first phoned up, when we first tried, nobody had ever heard of Most Haunted. And also because Antics Television Productions is basically a small television production. It was our first production that we'd ever done. Why should Hampton Court Palace and the Tower of London let a very small production company come in? You know, we could be anybody. We could make a fool of them. We could be tripping over wires. We had to prove ourselves first, and I think we've done that. And now we've built up a lot of friends with all the different locations. So now is the time that we would like to go to Hampton Court, the Tower of London, all the big places that people do want us to go to, because we've built up that respect from the people that we've worked with.
What's your question, Gary?
Well, it wasn't that. Basically, two quick questions. There's a lot of sort of copycat things starting up, you know, on TV and stuff like that. What do you think to that? Is it good that there's other people doing it, or would you prefer it yourself?
Yeah.
When we first came out with Most Haunted, no one wanted it. Absolutely nobody wanted it. Terrestrial television didn't want it. Satellite television didn't want it. We had to prove that it was a viable show, or was a show that would actually work. I mean, we had comments, I won't say which station, but one station who declined it said, when I asked them why they declined it, I said, is it not produced well enough for a television show for your channel? He said, yes, it is. It's a great show. I said, well, would it not sustain a full series? He said, yes, it'll sustain an exceptional series. So I said, well, it begs the question, why don't you want it? And he said, because I don't believe in ghosts. And when I said, but what about your potential 5 to 9 million viewers, which will give you an idea which station it was? They said, I'm not interested in them, I'm interested in what I believe in. And that's what we have fought against with Most Haunted. Now, Living they were the first channel to say yes, and it was Arch Dyson, who is now left Living, who was the head at the time, who saw the potential in this show and basically got it commissioned. And now all of those channels that said no to us have contacted us in some way. We've beaten them in ratings, and they've contacted us in some way saying, can you develop another show for us? I mean, we're constantly in talks about helping people develop shows. Now, as long as a show is honest and is done in the right way, I think that's fantastic. I really do. It's an area that most of us are interested in, and I think everyone at some point in their life has been interested in. And as long as they do it honestly and fairly, and they don't make anything up, I think more power to them. I mean, the more that this is on the television, the more people understand it. And yeah, so I think it's great.
We've got time for just one more question, if anybody's got one.
Yeah, there's one for Carl from Lee. Carl, there's hundreds of mediums out there. Why Derek?
Why not?
Well, why?
That was quick, wasn't it? No, Derek had worked with Yvette for, how long was it? How long were you working together at Granada Breeze? 6 months or so. And when we decided to go with someone for any television show or anything, it's usually on first impressions. Now Derek is obviously very well known. He was before we met him. He was a name that was synonymous with mediumship in Great Britain and America. And when he said yes to doing a pilot with us, the stuff that he picked up on was just fantastic. So at the end of the day, you know, why fix something that ain't broke? Just before, I know that was the last, it was the last question, but there's two people, actually three people I'd like to really thank here tonight. Yeah, I just want to make sure I thank two people here, or three people in fact, but Emma and Trevina. Thank you so much. These people have worked so hard before to get all this sorted, thank you. And there is... They've gone off. There is one other person who we did 2 shows with, and he's the reason we're here tonight. And without him, we wouldn't be allowed here, obviously, because he wouldn't have let us come. Because he owns the place. Anyway, Fred.
Gentlemen, the most haunted crew. There'll just be a short break now before you're joined on stage by Derek and Cora. So you've got about 20 minutes to get yourself something to eat and drink. And then